And now for some election news, which I try to stay away from politics, especially in our Christian program, but this is the last chance you have to vote for righteousness, for integrity, for God, for baby's life. And so I have a few clips here that are really important in our voting right now. And the first one is Julian Ashan. He's the new leaks on the Clinton Foundation. It's a 2.5-minute clip.
There's a early 2014 email from Hillary Clinton, so not so long after she left Secretary of State, to her campaign manager, John Podesta. That email, it states that ISIS, is funded by Saudi Arabia and Qatar, the governments of Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Now, this is I think this is the most significant email in the whole collection.
The Saudis, the Qataris, the Moroccans, the Bahrainis, particularly the Saudis and the Qataris, are giving all this money to the Clinton Foundation, while Hillary Clinton is Secretary of State and the State Department is approving massive arms sales, particularly to Saudi Arabia.
Under Hillary Clinton, and our Clinton emails reveal significant discussion about it, the largest ever arms deal in the world was made with Saudi Arabia, more than $80 billion.
And of course, the consequence of that is that this notorious terrorist jihadist group called ISIL or ISIS is created largely with money from the very people who are giving money to the Clinton Foundation.
Yes.
You get a lot of complaints from people saying, what is WikiLeaks doing? Are they trying to put Trump in the White House?
My analysis is that Trump would not be permitted to win. Why do I say that? Because he's had every establishment offside. Trump doesn't have one establishment, maybe with the exception of the evangelicals, if you can call them an establishment. But banks, intelligence, arms companies,
well, they all want him beat,
foreign money, etc., is all united behind Hillary Clinton, and the media as well.
This next video I received yesterday morning from a Facebook friend. Oh, she's not just a Facebook friend. She's a friend we met here in Austin when we were doing some pro-life filming. Craig had told us that Hillary's aide had deep ties to the Muslim Brotherhood with her mother and her uncle. And this 8-minute clip is really explains the ties and how important it is that we don't have Hillary as our president. So, John, would you please play that?
Her history and alarming connections are mostly unknown to the American people. Who is Huma Abedin? What do we know about Hillary Clinton's #1 aide and sidekick for 20 years? Hillary spoke at Huma's wedding saying, "If I had a second daughter, it would be Huma." This presidential election decides who gets to run the most powerful country on earth, so it is obviously very important to understand the facts about Huma Abedin, as she may very soon become Chief of Staff in the White House. I'll be simplifying an intricate web of people, organizations, and events that unraveled over many years. All of this information and more is available online for anyone who has access to Google. Anyway, here is an unbelievable story of infiltration, unfolding before our eyes, and the most important aspect of this election that you definitely won't see on CNN. There are 4 main players in this: Hillary Clinton, Huma Abedin, Abdullah Omar Nassif, and Saudi Arabia. Huma was born in the USA. Then when she was 2 years old, her family moved to Saudi Arabia. They lived in Saudi Arabia for 16 years. Huma returned to the USA when she was 18 to study at George Washington University. Only after 2 years in the country, she became an intern for Hillary Clinton, and soon after started working full-time. Also in 1996, Huma was working at her family business, a journal by the Institute of Muslim Minority Affairs. The Aberdeen's family business is owned by the Muslim World League, Saudi Arabia's global organization that promotes violent Wahhabi Islam. They even share an office at 46 Goodge Street, London. Saliha Aberdeen, Huma's mother, and Hassan Aberdeen, Huma's brother, currently work there still. Abdullah Omar Nassif is one of the founders of the Muslim World League and served as vice president of the Saudi Kingdom Shura Council. He created Huma's family business along with her father. He also funded Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden, as did Saudi Arabia, for many years. His organization was declared guilty of funding Al-Qaeda terrorism by the USA State Department. During the Holy Land Foundation trial in 2001, the FBI discovered that the Muslim Brotherhood gave over $12 million to Hamas, the terrorist organization. They also found the secret 18-page plan for the Muslim Brotherhood, which explains that their work in America is a kind of grand jihad in eliminating and destroying Western civilization from within. This document is available online in full. One of the many listed organizations within the Muslim Brotherhood was the Muslim Students Association, which Huma was an executive board member on for 3 years. Only 2 years after Huma left, Anwar al-Awlaki, the Al-Qaeda member and preacher to 9/11 hijackers, became chaplain of the same Muslim Students Association that Huma was a part of. To make things worse, Huma's mother, Saliha Aberdeen, is a leading member of the Muslim Sisterhood, the women's division of the Muslim Brotherhood. All of these organizations share the same goal and tell us repeatedly in plain English. They want to destroy Western civilization and replace our laws with oppressive Sharia law like you see in Saudi Arabia. On 9/11, Abdullah Omar Nassif, Saudi Arabia and Al-Qaeda tried to do just that. Where was Huma that day? The top funders of the 9/11 attacks created Huma's family business. Huma was officially working for the terrorists and Hillary Clinton the day those towers fell. Huma Aberdeen has never come forward with any information about her Saudi co-workers. Absolutely none of Huma's connections were mentioned by her during the investigations into 9/11. She has made no mention of her relationship to Abdullah Omar Nassif, the Muslim World League, Muslim Brotherhood, or her current status at her family business, which could be of unimaginable assistance to the FBI and the CIA. Huma's mother still works for the Muslim World League, yet Huma has made no effort to distance herself from her mother or her radical views. Saliha Aberdeen is a leading Sharia activist who has, for example, published a book called Women in Islam that claims secular man-made laws enslave women. It supports female genital mutilation, the death penalty for leaving Islam, the legal subordination of women, and the participation of women in violent jihad. Hillary Clinton has flown to meet with Saliha Aberdeen many times. Huma says that her mother considers her to be a big deal and is proud of her. Huma's absolute silence on all questions regarding her extremist ties says far too much. How can someone with such close links to terrorism be allowed access to our top secret information and have security clearances? Especially since it was found that Huma was accessing Hillary Clinton's emails and physical documents. The Clinton Foundation received over $25 million from Saudi Arabia, and they also funded 20% of her election campaign. Saudi Arabia's massive influence on the Clintons and Obama administration has not gone unnoticed. The damaging results of Islamist influence on the USA and Europe is worthy of another dedicated report, as this is just the tip of the corrupt iceberg. But you can no longer deny that Hillary Clinton is actively working with a global movement whose goal is to destroy Western civilization, just for the selfish benefit of money and power. Huma is the previously hidden link between the Clintons and Saudi terrorism. Dozens of other people and organizations were left out of this for length. Any rational person should have high standards of evidence for claims such as this. So here is the fastest way to prove Huma's tie to Abdullah Omar Nassif that you can look up for yourself and is sourced by their own websites. Start at the website of Huma's family business, the Institute of Muslim Minority Affairs. See that Huma's mother, Saliha, and Huma's brother, Hassan, currently manage this company. Now go to the website for the Muslim World League, owned by Saudi Arabia and Abdullah Omar Nassif. Note the address is listed by their website, 46 Goodge Street, London. Now, back to Huma's family business. If you scroll down, you see that same address, 46 Goodge Street, London. Clearly anyone can prove in seconds that Huma's family business is owned by Saudi Arabian terrorists. Their own websites make no secret of this fact. There are no more excuses for Huma's silence. She has had years of opportunities to distance herself from terrorists and radical views, but would rather simply hide. The American people demand an explanation from Huma Abedin and Hillary Clinton before the election. One simple, straightforward question needs to be answered. Did Abdullah Omar Nassif create your family business? And were you working with him in any capacity on September the 11th, 2001? Yes or no? This year marks the 15th anniversary of the day Al-Qaeda murdered 3,000 innocent citizens. Let's not forget about it so quickly. Huma's security clearances should be revoked until she or Hillary directly address this national security threat. Unfortunately, in the meantime, because of the overwhelming silence and lies, it appears to be true that a vote for Hillary Clinton will be a vote for Huma Abedin, the Muslim Brotherhood, Saudi Arabia, Al-Qaeda, and a wish for the complete destruction of the United States of America.
I think this video is really eye-opening of why it's very important that we vote tomorrow and vote against Hillary. And I totally understand that Trump is racist. He is a bully. He says things that just is of not intelligence or integrity. But we've got to stop Hillary. I have another 2-minute video here on I'm not sure how to say his last name, Steve Finsnick. He tells us about the Clinton pedophilia.
Talk to you about the ongoing coup and counter coup that is being initiated by the Clintons on the one hand and counter coup by the FBI, the New York Police Department, and other branches of our intelligence community. The important part to remember is also that not all the information has come out with regards to Weiner and his sexting to a 15-year-old North Carolina teenager. The real issue underlying a lot of Bill Clinton's nefarious activities as well as Hillary Clinton's sexual activities is the fact that we know that both of them have been a major part and participant of what's called the Lolita Express, which is a plane owned by Mr. Jeff Epstein, a wealthy multimillionaire who flies down to the Bahamas and allows Bill Clinton and Hillary to engage in sex with minors. That is called pedophilia. And as a result of the excellent work that the New York Police Department does in tracking pedophiliacs, they also have a record of both Hillary, Bill, and other people associated with the Clintons with regard to pedophilia. So not only will she be charged with obstruction of justice, with lying to a prosecutor in the FBI, she will also be charged with pedophilia, sex with minors, and other assorted issues. Bill might be brought up again on certain charges because those charges still relate to American crime and prosecutorial issues. But I do want to inform you that we are well aware in the intelligence community of their activities that hasn't stopped. And we're not talking about one trip to the Bahamas. We're talking about a multiple of 20 or 30 trips that Bill and Hillary did take separately and together on the Lolita Express to engage in sexual activities with minors. I hope you continue to listen to what we have to say. This is Dr. Steve Pachenik, and I will keep on informing you as to what is happening in this second American Revolution that we are witnessing in 2016. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. America.
I was talking to Isidore Lopez today before my show. Jonathan helps with their Fiesta musical show, and we were talking about the corruption that has gone on in politics for a lot of years, and it's gotten even worse and worse. And he was asking why, because back, when LBJ and I was a young girl, there was a corruption also, but us, the people, didn't know about the corruption that was going on. And he says, well, why do you think it's different now? And I think it's a lot of the social media that we're able to go on the internet and do our own research and not depend on the media, the national media that's owned by George Soros, that we're able to find it ourselves, to get reports out there, like television stations like Austin Public Access we're able to report what we've found and do interviews with people, and you can get onto Facebook, you can get on the internet, and you can research and meet with other people and have groups, and you can learn a lot of information and be informed. I have one more clip. If you don't know who George Soros is, which my husband talked about him all the time, how evil he was and his agenda and his socialistic and Marxist agenda to destroy America. And Hillary has got her claws in deep, or George Soros has his claws in deep. It's very evident, and she'll even tell you he is. And I know Donald Trump, I have shown that he has done some funding with George Soros and met with him at Christmas, and I don't excuse that, but her claws are really stuck deep with George Soros. And I'm going to show you a quick video. That's the last one about political. Of the clip, I have a 10-minute or 11-minute video of 4 years ago when my husband and I were doing a show here at JCI Live, and he talks about the election 4 years ago, and he talks about Hillary Clinton and her agenda and how important it is for us to get out the vote. And it's even true today. His words are even from 4 years ago. Well, now I'm going to do a 10-minute clip at the end of the program here with my husband. Oh, yeah, and tomorrow is the National Pray and Fasting Day, so be sure and fast and pray, and you can fast from your anything, just a way to help you remember to pray to God for our nation, and we'll be back with you next week. But it's just a little thing. We can just go right into it if you want to.
Yeah, we can. Either way.
Unless the kids have it ready. The kids, they're not kids, they're adults. But they might not even be listening to us in there. They might have it on autopilot.
Well, last week I had a guest on, Morris was talking about some of the things that, the bonds that are being voted on this election. Of course, next Tuesday is the election. Get out and vote. I am very much pro-life, very much anti-abortion agenda. I believe that marriage is between a man and a woman. I don't believe that marriage is between a man and a man or a woman and a woman.
Was that because you find that in the Bible?
It's what the Word of God talks real specifically about some of these things. You know, I look at the, you know, when Elijah in the Old Testament, Elijah comes, one of the greatest miracles of the Bible, he comes up against 700 prophets of Baal.
You feel like that sometimes here.
And with these 700 prophets, you know, they build an altar. And then these 700 prophets, they try to call down fire onto this altar. And, you know, they're cutting themselves, they're, you know, beseeching their God, Baal, to catch this thing on fire. And Elijah wasn't just sitting over, and Elijah's a man of God in the Bible. He wasn't just sitting idly by watching them. I mean, he was, watching, you know, them make total mockery and fools out of themselves. But he's mocking them. You know, your God must be sleeping. He must be, you know, he go on vacation. You know, he's, you know, all this thing. And, but the thing about Elijah, when it came his time to perform, he asked them to pour water on the altar.
Make it even harder.
Make it even harder. Then he said, Lord, and the Lord went, go whoosh, and rained fire down. You know, these are days that Elijah is getting a little, the spirit of Elijah is arising in people.
I think
you know,
the spirit of Elijah.
The spirit of Baal is a spirit that, you know, it likes killing babies.
It does.
Sacrificing babies to a demon god. And, you know, the stench of babies being murdered is rising to the nostrils of Satan. And Satan is well pleased with that agenda. He's well pleased with the agenda of this presidential administration, our Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, and their push to have abortion legalized throughout the world. There are many countries throughout the world that are now standing against the United States of America because our administration has tried to push an abortion agenda into nations throughout the world in the past 4 years. Hillary Clinton's travels have been extensive throughout Central and South America, throughout Africa and Asia, and parts of Europe, I believe, too, and that I don't know for sure. I do know for sure about the other continents of the world, pushing a pro-abortion LGBT agenda that has angered nations throughout the world, dangling money, our resources, the resources of the United States of America, in front of their nose saying, unless you legalize abortion and approve a lesbian, gay, bi-transsexual associate with your nation, then we will not help fund. Now you take
But we don't have money. Why are we sending money to do this over there? I don't understand that.
That's a different story in itself. But
doesn't make sense. Does not compute.
If I'm going into Libya, for example, and I'm dangling $1 billion in front of their nose, and or all the countries of Africa that she's gone to, you know, in Kenya, the United States helped them change their Constitution last summer so that in their Constitution they would legalize abortion. Christian Church up in arms against this. Everyone that spoke out against the United States agenda to change the Constitution in Kenya, every Christian leader that spoke out was killed.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is why people are saying, well, why don't they like the United States? Because we are pushing the wrong agenda throughout the world. You know, this is a critical election. I'm not going to tell anybody how to vote. I am going to say that I personally vote almost a straight Republican ticket, not because I believe in everything the Republican Party does, but because of one agenda, and that's the abortion agenda. It's the same-sex marriage agenda, that it's God in involved in our daily lives, whatever we're doing, is what the Republican Party is standing for. That I believe in. Do I think everybody that's a Republican or everybody that's elected to office has the same moral values that I have? No, I don't think so. But I do believe that I vote that way because they didn't take God out of their agendas. They don't promote things not in accordance with the Word of God. It's not about color. It's not about particular church or religion. It's about what does the Word of God say about the agendas they're pushing. And if the Word of God says that they're pushing the wrong agenda, how can I, in the good conscience and good faith, with a heart turned to God, vote for somebody that is pushing an agenda of Satan into the world, into our nation today? I can't.
You know, I do hear a lot of people say, and this has been forever, that the Democrats are for the poor and the Republicans are for the rich. And it's really not that way anymore. And even the system that the Democrats have set up, if I want help to get back on my feet so that I can work and I can be self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be helped to keep me down.
That's right.
And keep me in poverty.
That's right.
And keep me government assisted. I want to be able to be helped to learn jobs, to learn training,
That's right.
so that I can help my own family.
That's right.
But we do need to reach out and help.
That's right.
You know, the people who...
You know, I hear so many people that comment say, you know, there's the number of people on government assistance right now. You know, and there's a large number of people on government assistance. I don't think that those programs should ever be stopped. I think if a person is without work and they have a family and they...
Well, even if they don't, I mean, you know, there's
even
men
individually,
that have served our, you know, so many servicemen are on the streets.
That's right. There has to be programs to help these people get back on their feet. And if we turn a cold heart to anybody in need, you know, the Word of God says that we're to be there for one another, that we're to help the poor, to help the homeless, to reach out to the prisoners, and to do these things. Not to turn a cold shoulder, not to think, well, you know, because there's so many people of both political parties that are elitists, that are concerned about their own checkbooks, they're concerned about their own wealth. And this is both parties. This is not one or the other. This is both Democrats and Republicans, that they've attained their life ambitions. They're getting more money in their bank accounts. They're achieving what their self-worth demands and could care less about their fellow man. That is the wrong approach.
And a lot of them, too, we found, they want you to work for free.
That's right.
They can afford to pay you, and you need to make a living, but
one of the things that got me is, and I read this 30, 40 years ago, is that, you know, that many wealthy people are very frugal. You know, and frugal can be good. You know, it's not wasteful spending. I mean, you know, there's a lot of things that people have all, whether you're the poorest on the ladder or the richest on the ladder, there can be things you waste your money on. And but frugality can be good. But if I'm frugal in the way that I pay my employees, that's wrong. The Word of God says, pay a man a fair day's wage for a fair day's work. If I'm frugal in taking advantage of the service of others, and that's, if I was to come to you and I'd say, Mauri, I have a project for you to film. Say, oh, I love to film. I say, I know you love to film. And this is a project to help people. And you say, ooh, I love to help people. And I say, I know you do. And you say, you know, and I've got, you know, a brand new car and a lot of money in my bank account. And I'll say, I know you like to do this. And you say, well, is there any budget, or is there any resources, or is there any? No, you're going to do all this. This is going to be totally at your expense. You say, well, I don't know if I can get there or not, or I don't know if I have GVCs or gas money, or, you know, what do I pay my film crew, or, you know. Say, well, no, that's all totally on you.
Yeah.
And you say,
and then you can turn around and sell it.
See, those things are wrong. That's not paying a person a fair day's wage for a fair day's work.